Good evening. I'd like to call the Thursday, May 14th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in the City Council Chambers for the City of Sugar Land to order. First on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anybody here that needs to speak?
No, Chair, we do not.
Thank you. Item number 4, consideration of an action on the approval of the minutes of the April 23rd, 2026 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Do I have a motion to approve?
approve.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
We have a second. All in favor? Motion is passed unanimously, 6-0. Item number 5, subdivision plats. 5A, Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill Section 2 preliminary plat. Consideration of an action on Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill Section 2 preliminary plat. Ethan Cantu, are you presenting? Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. I've got Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill Section 2 preliminary plat for you guys tonight. And just to give a quick background on the whole preliminary plat, so the purpose is to lay out the lots and streets to confirm that all minimum lot sizes and right-of-ways can be met. Like reserves and accesses are shown on preliminary plats, but things like master notes, signature blocks, new easements, those will not be shown. And the preliminary plats are not recorded at the county. And then a little bit about the box exhibits. So box exhibits are only required for our preliminary plats, residential preliminary plats. And the purpose of these is to demonstrate that the proposed lots meet the required minimum lot width at the front building line. But these are not going to be representative of the actual building footprints. And all these boxes must be provided for any non-perpendicular lots, and they must be placed along the shortest tangent to the required front building line. So just to quickly go over Rye Hill, I know we've done this a couple times on last meetings, but so the City of Sugar Land entered into a development agreement with Pulte Homes back in December of 2023 for a proposed 958-acre master plan mixed-use community in the city's ETJ. It's going to be a mix of approximately 2,300 single-family residential and Del Webb residential lots. So the single-family lots are going to be 40, 45, 50, and 60 feet wide lots, and then Del Webb's going to be 40, 50, and 65 foot wide lots. And there's also 60 acres of the flex commercial use north of 2759. So getting into the preliminary plat a little bit more. So once again, this is Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill Section 2. It's about 67 acres of the Del Webb residential. It's going to be 157 single-family lots, 8 reserves, and 6 blocks. And those are going to consist of 40, 50, and 65 foot wide lots, with the corner lots being an additional 10 feet wide. So there's also an existing 30-foot drill site access easement located along the southern boundary, and this connects to drill site number 4, which is located in Del Webb Sugarland at Rye Hill 1C. Once again, this is located south of 2759 and east of 762, and access to this portion is going to be provided via Flora Caneway. So here's the general plan and kind of the general area for where this preliminary plat is located. And here's a look at the preliminary plat. And then you can see that access easement along the southern boundary, and then the box exhibit as well. So just another quick reminder on platting. We've got three different options for tonight. You can approve with conditions, and then disapprove. Those final two you need to cite the reasons from our code. And then, yeah, the platting guide is provided in y'all's packets. And with that, so staff recommends approval of the proposed Del Webb Sugarland Rye Hill Section 2 preliminary plat, and we can take any questions at this time that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. I'll open up for questions on the commission. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing this forward. Can you pull up the map?
Yes. And then, do you want me to go ahead and press it? This one? Okay, thank you.
The sheet 1 of 2. Up in that top right-hand corner, underneath where it says, at the top it says preliminary plat, and where the I is and the second I is in preliminary, there's a circle there.
Yes.
And it's item A on the reserve table, and it says detention, drainage, and incidental utility purposes only. It does not call that out as an easement of any sort. Will that be called out later once that's determined, once the use is determined?
So it is called out. It's got that little, there's a little number. There's a number 6 and a little diamond attached to it. It's going to be that 300-foot. Are you focusing on the circle that's
Yes.
that's on there? Yeah. So that's going to be a 300-foot.
Robert Wilson, Assistant City Engineer. So that is a 300-foot sanitary access control easement. And that's
So the
gonna
whole
be-
thing, okay.
That's going to be placed around a well to prevent sanitary infiltration into a groundwater source. So the MUD is installing a irrigation control well in that location, or an irrigation
Okay, so that's
facility.
tying into that overall easement.
That's
Okay,
correct.
you've answered my question. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? No? How does that impact lot 62, 63, 64, and 65 that overlap?
It would not impact anything on the lot. It would prevent it would prevent like septic systems and that sort of thing from being installed, which they will be connected to the sanitary sewer from the public side.
I see. So it's a sanitary easement, so if you had groundwater or a septic system, that's what it's there for. It's not to
Correct.
protect the lots, it's vice versa, to protect the
It's
well.
protecting the well from any any septic discharges.
Okay. And there's another on the bottom, on the southern portion, there's a detention over the drill site access easement. Is that detention, or is that just a drainage ditch? What is that down there?
So the whole bottom reserve there is a detention pond. The drill site access easement runs along the top bank of that detention pond along the property line. The easement that cuts across is actually an existing drainage easement that will be tied into the detention pond. So that's the call out 18 is an existing drainage easement.
Okay. And then I had a question on the block diagram.
On the box diagram.
There are quite a few lots or blocks that extend over the side building lines. Should that be there, or should the blocks be smaller?
Yes, yeah, no, they're allowed to. It's just to only show that they meet the lot requirement, like the width for it, but it's not going to be, that's not going to be what the homes are actually, spaced out as. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's just making sure that the lots conform with
Okay.
with the sizes proposed.
Last chance, any more questions? No? Okay. With that, do I have a motion to approve the preliminary plat? No, do I have a motion to approve it? Oh.
Well, anybody can.
Yeah, anybody can make the motion. Okay, I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Please vote. Motion's passed, 7-0. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Item 5B, preliminary plat extension, Rye Hill Section 4. Consideration of an action on the Rye Hill Section 4 preliminary plat extension. Ethan Cantu again.
Yes, I'm back. Yes. Okay, so yes, this one's going to be the preliminary plat extension for Rye Hill Section 4. and just kind of giving a quick overview since this was done a year ago. So it's going to be 39.7 acres of single-family residential, and it's got 177 lots, 9 reserves, 4 blocks. This area is going to be 45 and 50-foot wide lots, once again with the corner lots being an additional 10 feet wide. Still located south of 2759 and east of 762, and this portion is going to be provided, the access will be provided via Rye Hill Parkway. And you guys did unanimously approve this back on May 22nd of 2025. So this is going to be kind of the location of where Section 4 is going to be. And just to give a quick background of this as well. So once again, this was approved unanimously back on May 22nd of last year. And preliminary plats are, those approvals are effective for 1 year. So as of this time, the plat is still valid, but it will expire following that May 22nd, 2026 deadline if the 1 year extension is not approved tonight. So the developer is working to obtain approved construction plans. That's why they have asked for the extension, and then they'll proceed with the final plat submission once that's obtained. So just a quick look at the extension, the preliminary plat itself. This was the one that was approved back. No changes have been made to the preliminary plat itself. Once again, they're just asking for an extension. So staff does recommend approval of the preliminary plat extension for Rye Hill Section 4. And if you guys do have any questions, we can take those at this time.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Thanks, Ethan. Hey, I know we're going for a 1 year extension, but in the mail or the letter that we got from the engineers, they said that they were going to be submitting the final plat within the next 1 or 2 months. Mm-hmm. So my question is, I don't want to get into a situation where they're trying to rush this, where we got into a while back on one of the plats where we needed to get it approved right away because they were already trying to go forward with the development.
Yes.
So we make sure that doesn't happen, that they're trying to come in and rush that approval when they've already gone down the path of developing in this area.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's just been some back and forth with the construction plans that have taken a little bit longer than was originally anticipated. So when I reached out to the developer after they sent this letter to us, they just let us know that they plan to have it submitted within the next couple months. So that's why that was included in the letter. But we'll do our due diligence.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve a 1 year extension for the preliminary plat for the Rye Hill Section 4.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can we vote? That's passed unanimously, 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 6, workshop. Before we have staff present, it's obvious that the chairman is not here this evening, and I would actually like to put a motion on the table for the commission that we table this discussion until the chairman is available and a majority of the commissioners are available also. I'm making this motion due to the rarity and the severity of what's being proposed in terms of our variance to a subdivision ordinance. So I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I have a question on that,
Sure.
if I may. Does doing that, I know we can do that, but is there anything time bound in this workshop that would necessitate this not being tabled or making that somewhat precarious to the situation?
So it slows down the process because you have to make a recommendation and then it has to go to council for action. So it does slow down the process.
That's it, okay.
Is that slowing down the process? Is that an issue for staff or is that an issue for the owner?
I would assume it's an issue for the owner, I don't know how urgent of an issue, but
Okay. Also, now that I see who the owners are, I'm familiar with these owners. I'm going to have to disclose that, and I'm going to have to remove myself from this discussion now. I did not know these were the owners. These two lovely people right here, so I'm going to have to recuse myself. Yeah, I'm sorry, Lisa, I did not know that. So
May I
so
speak?
somebody also have to make a motion. No, I don't think so. Right, I think I should not make the motion.
This is a workshop, though, right? There's no action tonight.
no
correct?
action.
But, and then the next
Little-
question I have is that part of a workshop, if we still have a lot of outstanding questions, we can have a second round, correct? That would allow the other commissioners to come in and provide input as well,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
people that are missing.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, could you clarify if this workshop is held today? We do have one commissioner online that can listen in. The chair is not here, but it would be available to view from the chairperson, right, at a later date?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
The chair can, log in, and can they review the workshop? Can they review the video of the workshop to
Yes.
catch up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If there's no second, the motion dies.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I could make a
You really
motion.
should recuse yourself
Yeah,
at this
so-
point, yeah.
So at this time, I'll, Right.
There's been no second to
right, so the
chair's
motion,
motion, so the motion
motion doesn't
dies.
carry.
Yeah,
It-
and
it-
then so Mr. Hart can recuse himself, and then somebody else can make a motion if there is one.
I'm okay with going.
So also, do I need to vacate the chair right now, or, okay, so,
And we would need to do an election to have someone chair the remainder of the meeting. And so,
okay, well,
Go ahead, Jim.
Chuck,
I'm going to, Farina.
do we have any volunteers or nominations for?
We would like to nominate Farina, or I would.
Second.
All those in favor of Farina chairing? So moved.
okay, thank you. You can come for the gavel if you'd like.
If we're going to move forward, I have a proposal that we go through each one of the variances one at a time and try to focus on that one to get all the information and not try to go back and forth to limit confusion in the discussion.
Y'all are ready? You're ready?
I'm ready.
We're
Yes.
ready.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay. So the proposal is for property that's located in the city's ETJ, located at 3706 Maranatha Drive. This property is located south of Commonwealth Boulevard and north of University Boulevard. The request came in as a plat, and the plat is to subdivide Lot 7 into 2 lots and 1 block in Maranatha Farms subdivision. The property, in addition to Lot 7, does have an additional 3.7 unplatted acres under common ownership of about 9.4 acres. The request for the variances, which are from section 5-5, 5-19, and 5-24, are the requests not to plat the 3.7 acres that are under their common ownership, so the property is not included within the Maranatha Farms Civic Association, their HOA. So the variance requests from section 5-5, 5-19 have to do with not platting the 3.7 acres, and then 5-24 has to do with public utilities. Background on the property, it was originally platted in 1983 and then partially replatted in 1989. This created the present-day Lot 7, which is 5.6 acres. In 2000, the property came under common ownership of the 9.4 acres with the 3.7 acres of unplatted property. And that is not with the present owner that it came under ownership. So this is Lot 7, and then this is the 3.7 acres that's unplatted. This is the 1983 plat showing Lot 7 at 3.7 acres. This is also in the Maranatha Farms Civic Association. The deed restrictions were also incorporated. All the properties in the development were served by a private well water and septic system is how it was developed. This is the 1989 partial replat. Lot 7 got larger up to 5.6 acres. This is the proposed plat that was submitted showing the two, Lot 7 being subdivided into 2 lots. Lot 1 with 2.8 acres and about 284 feet of frontage on Maranatha Drive. Lot 2 with 2.7 acres and 270 feet on Maranatha. And then the remaining 3.7 acres that's unplatted in this location. There are 4 subdivision variance criteria, as you can recall from our workshop that we did on the process. The first one is that there are no special circumstances or conditions affecting the land involved, such that the strict application of the provisions of the subdivision regulations would deprive the application of reasonable use of the land. Number 2, granting the variance would not be detrimental to the public health, safety, welfare, or interest to other property in the area. 3, granting the variance will not have the effect of preventing the orderly subdivision of other lands in the area in accordance with the provisions of the subdivision regulations. And 4, a more appropriate design solution exists, which is not currently allowed by the subdivision regulations. And if you need me to go back again through the criteria as we move through each of the requests, I can do that. The first request is from 5.5.3, which is subject developments. This code requirement is the requirement that says all property that is contiguous under common ownership must be included in the plat. So in order for the property owner to proceed forward with subdivision of Lot 7 into 2 lots, you have to have a variance from this because it has to include the 3.7 acres that's never been platted. Findings of what staff has gathered so far is that the proposed configuration will leave the 3.7 unplatted tract landlocked. It's under common ownership with the current property owners. It has no access to right-of-way via right-of-way, either a public street or a private street. The property can reasonably comply with the regulations in the subdivision regulations. The 9.4 acres can be subdivided into 3 compliant lots for the lot width. They have about 555 feet of frontage on Maranatha Drive. The regulations require a minimum of 60-foot lot width on Maranatha. An early proposal that we saw at a pre-development meeting illustrated compliance with the 3.7 acres of property. Also, you should note that the city does not enforce private deed restrictions. So the reason that the applicant has requested a hardship is to not include this in the HOA. However, the city does not enforce deed restrictions. That would be a private matter between the homeowners association and the property owner. And it is my understanding that the homeowners association does not want the 3.7 acres included within their association either. This is the early configuration that we saw. Granted, it's not into 3 lots, but it shows a 60-foot access here with the 3.7 acres being included along with what is currently Lot 7. The variance criteria in regards to number 1, staff hasn't identified a special hardship. 2, there would be potential injury to future development because of the landlocked 3.7 platted acres. 3, this would prevent orderly subdivision of land in the area. And 4, a more appropriate compliance solution does exist in the code. Section 519, Streets General Provisions 3A. This code requirement says that all single-family lots must front on a public or a private street. Findings from staff is that future ownership would separate permanently the landlocked 3.7 acres. It can be achieved, as we said before, with a minimum 60-foot lot width with 555 feet of frontage on Maranatha. The property can reasonably comply with these regulations. The city does not enforce the private deed restrictions, and an earlier proposal does show that it can meet compliance with the 3.7 acres. In regards to criteria number 1, staff has not identified special circumstances or conditions that would prevent the property owner from complying. There is potential injury to future developability of that landlocked tract. This would prevent orderly subdivision of the land. And 4th, a more appropriate compliance solution does exist in the code. The last section is 524, Utility Easements and Services C. This code requirement is the requirement that upon platting that the property would have to comply and get services from the city, both water and septic. Staff finds that the property is located in the city's ETJ. The surrounding properties, including the existing residents on the property, on private well, water, and a sewer system. So when the city would have to extend public utilities to this property, which would at this time only result in 1 connection, possibly maybe 3 connections, but no one else in Maranatha Farms. The variance criteria, again, 1 is that that it does comply with the existing site and the neighborhood, being as though the properties are served by well and septic. 2, staff hasn't identified any health, safety, or welfare issues with the private well, water, and septic system. The request would not prevent orderly subdivision of the land, and we have not identified any other design solution that would be sufficient. The next steps of this process would be holding a consideration and action for a recommendation to City Council. Tentatively, that could be the May 28th meeting. And then from there, Council will act on the subdivision variance request, date not determined at this time. With that, if I have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any of these. And then, as it's so been pointed out, the owners are also here if you have any questions about the requests.
Questions for staff?
Thanks, Jessica, for the
Yes, ma'am.
for the overview. So it just occurs to me, why are they trying to divide this in 2 and then not use this 3 whatever acres? Is this just bad land? You know, it seems like they're trying to exclude it from anything that they're trying to do with this property.
We've been told it was so the 3.7 acres is not within the HOA's deed restrictions.
Yeah, but isn't there an option then to go and get an exclusion from the HOA restrictions as well? They could go to the HOA and say, hey, you know.
I would assume, yes.
But there's nothing wrong with this property, I mean, the land itself.
To my knowledge, no, I don't, yeah, to my knowledge, no. It was originally, not originally, but pre-development meeting did show that the property was included.
So are they planning on developing the other half once they subdivide?
They've never told us, they've never given us an answer despite us asking.
Okay, I had a question.
Okay, go ahead. I've got more, but.
I guess my question was, I don't think this neighborhood is in an HOA.
Yes, ma'am. It's the Maranatha Farms Civic Association.
So,
I didn't think they were in an HOA, but
Unless I just I couldn't find the information that was recorded when it was dissolved. I have the recordation information when it was created. Sorry, can't think of my word.
If I'm doing the math here, as I read this, there's there seems to be a conflict between what the HOA will allow and what they want the use to be which is driving the request for this variance. Is that an understanding? Is that the case? Then if that's the owner over here, if you want to come up and speak, maybe tell us a little bit about it, and then help explain why we're going through this process, what the conflict is that's driving us to go down this road.
Sorry.
Thank you. State your name and
My
your
name is Eric
address.
Humble, and I have 2 houses on Maranatha. So I used to live at 4th of 005, and now I live at 3706. So this was started by Mark Papa, who is the previous owner. So there's some precedent of this. If you read back in the history of Maranatha, it was originally divided as a subdivision, and then in the back is unreserved land that pretty much everyone on my side of the street owns some. So if you look at the Yaps, which is the first house, they have some unreserved land at the back of their house, and they have their lot. And the next house down is Dr. Riley's, whoever bought the house from Dr. Riley, and she has the unreserved in the back. And then Diane Caswell, who owns 5 lots in the front, and connecting to her back land, received an easement right along the 2 pieces of property between the Basses and the lady that bought the house from Riley. So that easement is already, I guess, at some point during the history of Maranatha, was used for her access, even though she has access from back of our land. So the thing is, what happened was when we purchased the land, Mark Papa was already dividing. We didn't need the whole 5.6 acres. So what happens is in Maranatha, the lot sizes are 2.75 acres. Our other half of the land, we don't utilize it at all. It has a barn, which I don't have any horses or anything like that. So what happens is it is pretty much, to me, an undeveloped, part of the land. So replotting has happened multiple times before in Maranatha. The original replot was all the way far down on the right. It's my friend's house now, but it used to be, I don't know who, I think it was Nelson, or no, it was a different person that replotted that land. So the lots have been replotted. Every single lot is under the size that cannot be divided, except for this is a divisible lot. And obviously, when we purchased the lot, we didn't really want the whole thing. And so that's why, and that process has already started. No one has put that back area into Maranatha, including Diana Caswell, who owns about 30 acres. Well, she owns 50 acres total, and I think in the back it might be 30 acres. So if you put up the plotting, you can see those acres. So she owns all those acres, and then for whatever reason has an easement through between the two lots. So that's where we got our precedent from. Well, at least that's what Mark Papa told me before we purchased the land. So this process had been started by him. So what we thought, I didn't think it was a big deal, and I apologize, because I know Diana has this access easement, the same kind of easement that we were requesting. If you look in the books, it's 24 feet wide. You guys approved it. I don't remember the exact year, though. I might be off, but I think it was I don't remember. But anyway, it's between the 2 lots. And so that's exactly what the precedent that we were looking for. And then the division is because it's been divided a couple different times before by people that own large sections of land.
Thank you. I have a question for staff. If this variance goes through and this land is platted, that 3.7 acres that gets left behind, at some point in the future, if this other tract was to sell and these people were to leave, you could end up with a piece of land that nobody can get to.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And can I, do you mind if I follow? I just want to clarify, in the full breadth of the, work that we've done on it, it did change. It changed owners from the time the plat review started so about 2 months into the review, it changed. The applicant didn't notify us that it had changed. I have asked the applicant again if they really wanted to go through this process, and I never got a response back. So,
I have a question. So the lot 7 is owned by the folks that are sitting here, right?
yes, ma'am.
And they're asking for it to be subdivided into 2 pieces.
Yes, ma'am.
And the one that is in the back, who owns it?
They own it.
They own it too. But they could sell it.
Yes.
When they're replatting it, the lot 7 as block 1 and 2 lots, why not plat the back one as well? And why not, and yes, the one when you replat the front one, the back one is landlocked. So it has to have an easement. It has to have an access easement, it has to have a future utility easement for whoever is going to end up with that lot. And so while you're platting it, you could include the plat to that lot as well. Yes, you can speak. Come back.
Like I said before, and I apologize, I never saw the 60-foot easement because I came in late. I'm not sure why Diana didn't build a 60-foot easement when she was trying to access a major piece of land in the back, which is probably 20-plus acres back there. What happened is when we purchased the land, we did move the easement over. So we did ask for, I didn't know that it was not being, I mean, I'll replot it at the same breath. I was trying to replot it into 3 lots with an access easement to the back. Because the back part is never included in Maranatha, I think that would be unusual. I mean, it's not part of the history of Maranatha to include those parts of the land, to the best of my knowledge. And so that's why everybody has their front lots and then their back unreserved portions. It's just Diana has all the land behind all those unreserved portions, including land behind the one that I currently own. So it's not that we're trying to landlock any piece of land. I want that clear. I don't understand the process, but I want it clear that I'm not going to landlock anybody's land, nor do I plan on that. The proposal was to divide the lot, which is by the subdivision rules able to be divisible, and then the other thing is to get a small access easement like Diana has to the back of the land that's been approved. So I thought, well, okay, that has been done.
So have you seen the actual plat of this person that you're referring to? The actual legal plat?
Have I seen the one that I released?
Yes,
the one
because...
yes, I have. I've seen the one that I showed him, and that it got released. Yes.
So in that actual plat of the person that you're referring to, you see an access easement of 24 feet only?
Yes, ma'am. The same that's Diana's. That's what I thought it would be the same. I thought, well, Diana Caswell has the same access easement. I'll just ask for the same thing that she has. I mean,
if I may, sir. Hi, my name is Nathan Dietrich. I'm here on behalf of Beacon Land Services in order to represent the client. So if you were to pull up, I'm not sure if we have the possibility of pulling up Fort Bend County's GIS, because then we could show you exactly what he's speaking of. Yeah.
That property's not legally platted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
can I plot it?
So part of what I believe my client's trying to also do is that from the homeowners association, we're trying to keep the, I guess, the size of the properties all to be the same, right? Because the homeowners association, civic association, has a requirement of 2.5, as my client was saying before. And by giving that additional 60 feet, we end up dropping below that requirement. And so the idea behind this was if they provided the 24-foot access easement, not platting the property, no one could ever build anything on it in the first place. They would have to go through the permitting and have to come back to replat the property anyway. So there would be an opportunity for any owner in the future to come in, and if they wanted to build on the property, they'd have to come back through the city.
Without platting the 3.7 acres, it's virtually impossible for a future owner to do that without multiple variances approved by City Council.
Yep.
In order to access by an easement, it will require a variance. So that would be a variance from Section 5-19, since the lots have to front on a public street.
I had a question on the process. So I understand you mentioned a couple of times there were some questions that staff did not get answers to from the applicant. And I understand this is a workshop where we're not actually deciding anything. Before this goes to council, is staff going to get those blanks filled in before council makes a decision? And is it premature to start a workshop without staff having full kind of visibility into everything that you need to go forward?
Let me re-clarify. There are some things that we haven't heard back on recently. When this process started in October, we strongly advised against it. We knew that they could comply. I say the applicant knew that they could comply, and they were very adamant about not wanting to plat this property and didn't see the reason why. We can't stop an application from going forward, and this is why we are here today before you.
Got it. And I wonder if there's any, and I understand from the applicant that this is sort of a precedent that's occurred in Maranatha Farms, but it just seems like you're taking away the value from the land by having a kind of dead area of 3 acres plus. And why not make that usable? If you can't really sell it in the future, just thinking out loud, right? If you can't sell that in the future, and if it doesn't add value to the existing property, why have that? That's just part of my brain that's asking that question. And I get that that's what the subdivision has kind of done in the past, but yeah.
So Jessica, if, this goes through, but it sounds like in an ETJ, I mean, that's something that's getting incorporated, right? Or into Sugar Land? Or it's just on the outskirts, right? So it seems like there should have been, when it came in, some kind of, okay, this is how we're going to manage this whole entire area, right?
It's always been in our ETJ since the property was platted in 1983. State law has changed over the last probably 6 years or maybe greater, where properties can only be annexed into our city limits if it's by petition of the owner. So we have properties in our ETJ. So normally what we see that'll come in is we have property owners that are, entering into agreements that eventually they would get annexed. So without any petition, we wouldn't be able to annex. But it's also, this property in particular is not directly like abutting our city limits. So it would have to come from multiple property owners for us to be able to do that.
But this other property that the gentleman's referring to, is that all landlocked now? I mean, with
No,
this.
ma'am. Sorry, trying to go back. He's referring to some of these other properties here. So I think this property owner owns a good bit of land and all of this around. It looks like it was all probably purchased by Meets and Bounds. It's never been actually platted into one piece of property. It just so happens that this piece here is the only piece that if you cut it off from the rest of what's lot 7, it doesn't have any access of contiguous like ownership in any like capacity. It's the only piece that would get cut off. Now, a property owner could come in and sell something by Meets and Bounds here to someone who doesn't do any due diligence and possibly landlock themselves.
Or get an agreement from the owner at that point to try to get a variance.
So I have a question for you, Jessica.
Yes, ma'am.
When they plat, let's just say they want to plat just lot 7 and subdivide it into 2 and create a block. And then, we don't want to see the back portion landlocked, and we're saying, why not plat that as well, right? When that easement is written for 60-foot width, it could be on lot 1 of block 1, it could be on lot 2 of block 2, it could be shared by lot 1 and 2, but in neither circumstances, it actually reduces the total acreage of lot 1 or lot 2, because it's an easement.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I think what they were referring to was actually having the lot with the 60 feet of frontage on Maranatha would reduce it, but an access easement would not reduce the acreage.
but in terms of the subdivision requirement, having an ownership of 3 point whatever that number was, which this particular lot allows them to subdivide it into 2, they would still meet that requirement. They just have an easement on that lot. Whether it's on one or both, it doesn't matter.
Yes, because they're both over, one is 2.7 and one is 2.9 acres.
Yep.
So question, it sounds like if they're wanting to subdivide to sell the other half because they don't need it. But does that mean then when that buyer comes in, they're gonna have to put in their own septic and water system?
Yes.
Because it's only in the one lot? I mean, that sounds like it was done by lots when it was first put together, right?
Yes.
Can I answer you? So if there is an easement, a 60-foot easement, it's not just an access easement. It would have to be an easement for utilities as well. So in the future, if Sugarland brings utilities, the lot in the back would have an opportunity to tap into those utilities down the road. Because it's not just an access easement, it's also good for utilities. Presently, they don't have water and sanitary, right? Sugarland does not, they don't have public water and sanitary.
They do not.
Right. But in the future, they can. And, right.
How far away are utilities? I mean,
I
Do we
will
know?
have our assistant city engineer answer that.
and that would be, if the owner was to bring it, that would be at their cost, correct?
So the utilities, let's go back to the map here. The utilities are, this is Maranatha Drive, and then it connects back over here to Cabrera. Where Scenic Rivers comes in to the east, the utilities are over there. So it's a very long run. With this being needing a sanitary sewer system, gravity sanitary sewer system, we don't have a lift station either. So there likely would have to be a lift station installed at the city's cost for that.
Is that at the city's cost, or
Yes.
does the owner pay, does the owner that's having the utilities brought in?
So typically, they would be extended, if they're extended by the cities, there'd be connection fees associated with that that would pay back for that extension, or the owner could pay and donate that infrastructure. It would depend on what that agreement
Correct.
looks like.
That's what's typical. Thank you.
Are we able to respond to any of these questions?
No. Just, it's just a
Chair,
workshop.
that's up to you.
I'm sorry, respond to what?
Are we able to respond to anything that staff has said?
Unless someone has a question. Do we have a question?
If the conversation's gonna happen, have him come up to the mic.
Yeah, if you need to speak, you have to come to the mic. But at this time, I think the bigger question is, does any commissioner have any question for the ownership?
If I'm hearing in the background, there's questions about the ownership, and my understanding was that this whole Lot 7 is owned by the individuals here currently.
Do you want to respond to that question? Yes. Okay.
This is the picture that I wanted shown. So this is, if you see it, we do own this whole lot. This 3.7 acres we're talking about is back here. If you look, every person has those unplotted land behind their lots. So this is the first lot, second lot, third lot will be the fourth. This is the Yaps. They own this. It's unplotted. This is unplotted. This is owned by Diana, this big piece of land here, which she has an easement that they approved right through here. So our back piece of land touches all these unreserved, and at some point, she's about 74 and she has no heirs. She's gonna sell this or divide it up. And so I'm not sure exactly what's gonna happen back there, but she wants to keep it as land usage only for cows, which that's...
I would advise you to speak to your lot only, please.
I'm sorry?
Speak to what you own. That was the
Yes.
question.
Sorry. So yeah, I do own this land right here, this section. Yes, no problem.
So that would mean, question here, so that would mean even if you got the subdivided as you wish, and you have the 3.1 acres at the bottom, then are you responsible then for maintaining that, or does that land just go
Yes, ma'am.
wild?
Yes, ma'am, because I'm trying to, work with Diana to have cows back there, because I like the cows, a lot. And I actually own a house down here that Diana has the front, and she said she's gonna divide them up and sell them, and they have horses right now. So the most beautiful part of Sugar Land is these cows, and horses, in my personal opinion.
So what keeps you from just dividing this lot in half and just,
Because according to when I joined, the subdivision doesn't have the back halves of these lots. They don't own them. The subdivision doesn't own this part of the land and anyone. So this is the part of the annex, this is like extra, whatever you guys call it. This is the Maranatha lot, it ends right here. And this, Yap, he owns all this also. And so then this is, I don't know her name because that's Dr. Riley's lot, and it ends here. And then this is also unplotted land back there. And this is Diana's land in the back.
so Jessica, by plotting it, does that make it part of the subdivision? I mean, why can't you just divide it in half and the subdivision owns the top? I mean, I don't.
It doesn't, we wouldn't
Yeah, I mean,
enforce
it's-
it.
Right. So I don't see, I guess I'm confused because I don't understand what's preventing us from just dividing this property just in half. Just,
I have the same question.
So for clarity, again, as I understand it, this back third, the other properties have a back third as well, for lack of a better description. Those people own it. Those people pay taxes on it, right? It's not just land that belongs to Sugar Land or land that belongs to Maranatha. It's owned by those people as well. And regardless of how it got there, that's what it is today. And that land is accessible through the plats that exist or not on the back of those other lots.
So if it is that this person owns this property here, then it's under contiguous ownership. So the front port is platted and the back portion is not platted. So if this property owner, wanted to incorporate all of it or come in and divide the front portion, it would be the same thing possibly.
Okay.
Yes, depending on what their access looks like in pieces and parts.
And so I just wrapping my head around this, I get it. We all have situations where if he did it, I want to do it. If they have it, I want to have it. What's so egregious about going, you know what, the solution here is we'll plat it all as one and we'll move on down the road because I'm going to own the land anyway. I don't understand the aversion to doing that. That's my question.
We've only been told this because they don't want it in the civic association in the HOA. That's the only reason that we've been given.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to reports. We have City Council meeting for April 21st. I took that meeting. There's nothing to report as it relates to planning and zoning. City Council meeting May 5th. Do we have someone here for that? Okay. City staff report.
Good evening, everyone. So your next meeting will be the May 28th meeting. So it's in a couple of weeks. We anticipate a workshop for you on potentially some code or code work that we've been doing. And then TBD on this item, the variance requests may be coming back as well. So we'll see as we work through some of the questions you've posed, and again, trying to work with the applicant and the applicant's representative on getting some clarification on things. So that is on the slate for the 28th.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.